Darrow Quaz here with the Business News. Hello, Darrow.
Hi, Israel. How are you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
Great. I'm doing fantastic.
Okay, take it away.
We begin with developments within the financial space. Chairman of Group Indum, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum, is moving fast to halt the liquidation of GN savings and loans. Lawyers for Dr. Indum have filed a suit to stop the Bank of Ghana, the Minister of Finance, and the Attorney General and the receiver for GN savings and loans, Eric Nipa, from going ahead with the liquidation process. There is more in this report.
Joy Business understands the application was filed at the Human Rights Court on Monday, September 2, and lawyers for Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum are pushing for a hearing date of September 6, 2019. The move, according to sources, is to ensure that they move fast to prevent the government, the Bank of Ghana, and the receiver from going ahead with the liquidation process before the substantive case is heard by the court. Dr. Indum is asking the court to make an order of interlocutory injunction directing the Bank of Ghana or its agents, including Eric Nipa, who is the receiver, to forthwith restore the bank to its specialized deposit-taking license pending the determination of the originating motion. He is also asking for an order to restrain the Bank of Ghana and its agents from further interfering directly or indirectly with the rights of the shareholders of GN Savings and Loans as well as the directors and management. Dr. Indum earlier sued the central bank demanding it restores the license of GN Savings and Loans. He argued that GN Savings and Loans is not only solvent but would be highly liquid if the Finance Ministry and other government agencies quickly pay amounts owed them.
Now, the 4 auditing firms that were sanctioned for roles played in the collapse of some banks could have lost their licenses. This is what we have picked up from persons close to the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. George Afe has the details.
Joy Business is learning all the 5 accounting firms investigated were given the opportunity to respond. Sources say in some instances, hearings were dragged just to accommodate the firms that had issues with the findings of the fact-finding committee. We also understand that some of the firms sanctioned could have lost their licenses. That is, if the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana has stuck to their regulations that guides the profession. However, after several engagements and based on the fact that it is the first time that some of them were caught up in this challenge, they were rather fined. This is despite pleas from some of them that it was too high, whilst others thought that they should have rather been warned. This is because of the impact of this announcement on their business. Sources say the hearings and the engagement were done in a way that none of the firms can come out later and accuse the institute of not being fair. But financial consultant and chartered accountant Dr. Daniel Sedo tells Joy Business the auditing firm should not take the blame alone, even though he fully supports the action of the institute.
The whole financial system and audit itself is built on trust. What we are seeing is that we do not have that trust in this industry. We don't have enough of it. So we need to rebuild. I think we need to get to ground zero and rebuild this whole thing. It's not like the banks did the right things and the auditors did the wrong things. For most of these cases we've all read about, the banks themselves misconducted themselves and some of them tried to get the auditors to give them clean bill of health. And in some instances, with the support of the regulator. So that is where the challenge is coming from, assuming the banks did the right thing. There will be no problem. There are other banks in this country who are being audited by the same auditors. How come they didn't have a challenge? So the problem really is not necessarily about the auditors doing bad job. Yes, the problem for me is coming from the directors of the financial institutions we have.
We're also learning that in some cases, the auditing firms were pressured by regulators to pass the accounts of these banks when they were not supposed to do so. In a later development, the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana says it took the action to help protect the profession's integrity. It argues that as a body charged with regulating the accountancy profession, it is committed to high standards. The Institute, however, said that it regrets that some of the members did not meet the appropriate standards as prescribed in the international standards on auditing the course of duty as auditors. It also maintained that the said infractions of these firms did not lead to the collapse of these 7 commercial banks.
The Bank of Ghana is directing deposit-taking institutions to demand identification for withdrawal and deposits into accounts on behalf of another. According to the central bank, the move is part of measures to check money laundering in the country. This should mean that without providing your identification, any bank or deposit-taking institution might not accept monies that you're placing in someone's account. Away from banking, the Ghana Revenue Authority is embarking on an operation to publish names of businesses and individuals that fail to honor their tax obligations after several warnings. Ebenezer Sabute was at the launch of the campaign and reports.
The campaign, dubbed Operation Collect Name and Shame, aimed at helping the Revenue Authority collect all taxes due the state. According to the Ghana Revenue Authority's tax force, their inability to collect these taxes has impacted negatively on the end-of-year revenue targets. National Coordinator of the Tax Force, Ken Chunibu-Akodua, believes the performance will be improved before the end of the year with the introduction of the campaign.
So to hover around 7.7, you can understand how the situation is. And for customs, we are around 24.4. This is unacceptable. We admit that certain policies that came didn't work in our favor. Policies that were supposed to make businessmen, especially importers, even grow their businesses by way of the benchmark value and the paperless policies. Businessmen still found it necessary to do the wrong things at the port. And all these things have gone a long way to affect customs revenue. So this operation is attempting to help reverse this huge negative deviation for customs revenue.
He also has some advice for tax defaulters.
Once you have withheld a taxpayer's money, then you are under obligation to remit it to GRA. So whatever is making you keep the money, it is not our business. Once the taxpayer has paid you, you gave him a contract, you took the tax thereon from his money, that money doesn't belong to you anymore. It belongs to GRA. So that money should come to GRA within some number of days. If they are still with you, you are coming for those monies plus penalties. That's the issue we are talking about. And for those who are clearing at the port, misclassifying their goods so they get lower duties, misspecifying their goods so they get lower duties, and for some reason even reducing the volumes. And we have clearing agents also at the port who are aiding some of these things. Not all of them. We have very good ones among them. But a few ones who are also aiding these things, we'll get them.
The authority will embark on its first operation before the end of next week. Ebenezer Sabute's report for Joy Business.
Next up, a summary of some of the day's other business stories.
The total value of mobile money transactions for the first 6 months of this year reached 140.2 billion cedis, up from the 104.6 billion cedis recorded in the same period in 2018. Data released by the Bank of Ghana shows that this represents a 34% rise in the value of transactions recorded for the period under review. Meanwhile, the patronage of checks for the first half of this year witnessed a drop compared to the same period last year. A $25 million starch factory project under construction in the Pru district of the Blue East region is expected to employ over 3,000 people, Stephen Jalula, District Chief Executive, has said. He disclosed this on a working visit to the factory site, which is part of government's One District, One Factory initiative. It has emerged that about 30% of fuel stations in the country are using digitally controlled dispensers that are easy to adjust to alter the quantity of fuel dispensed to buyers. This makes it easier for fuel attendants and their superiors to cheat unsuspecting consumers without tampering with the well-publicized security seals installed on the nozzles of fuel pumps, a highly placed source at the Ghana Standards Authority has confirmed to the graphic business.
The Wa Airport is now open for commercial flights. We've got details in the next hour when I come your way with business. We're taking a short break. The news continues after this break.